Hey everyone, welcome back to another YouTube video. In today's video, we'll be discussing different phases in ethical hacking, and this would be our last video on this series. And starting from next video, we'll be having all the demos on all the steps or all the phases that we discussed in today's video and in previous video. So, are you ready? Let's chop it out. Alright, so what are the different phases in ethical hacking? So there are major 6 phases that are involved in ethical hacking. Number 1 is pre-engagement and project initiation. Number 2, information gathering. Number 3, vulnerability assessment. Number 4, exploitation. Number 5, reporting. And number 6 is project sign-off. We'll be discussing all of these 6 phases in brief explanation in this video. So number 1 phase is pre-engagement phase. In this phase, all the stakeholders from both sides, a company who is doing penetration testing or ethical hacking and a company whose infrastructure is being assessed, they sit together and they discuss all the objectives, plans, and all the communications, and they sign all the paperwork, rules of engagement, what could be the targets, and all of those things that you can discuss. They answer all of questions from both sides and get all the clarities on everything, and then they start the project. So this is just like a pre-phase, I would say a premature, or I would say pre-engagement and all in this step. So second phase of ethical hacking is information gathering. This is also known as reconnaissance. In this phase, we gather all the information about our target. This information could be available to the public or open source intelligence, or we can use some different tools to gather this information that is not available to the public. For example, Nmap. We can use Nmap and we can find the different network in company's infrastructure. So we can use open source as well as the different tools to gather information about the networks, application hosts, or anything that we have in our objectives. We can find the information about that. And this information is going to help us to identify the vulnerabilities in the environment that we're going to exploit. Okay, so the third phase of ethical hacking, then this is a vulnerability assessment. In the vulnerability assessment phase, we use the information that we gathered in our previous step and we find the vulnerabilities. For example, if we found out in our previous step, like in information gathering, that there is a system which is using Windows XP. I know that Windows XP has a lot of vulnerabilities and it's outdated. So what we do, we find the vulnerabilities that could be exploited in Windows XP so that we can deploy our load throughout this intrusion, right? So this is just like assessment of vulnerabilities so that we can use those vulnerabilities to exploit our targets. All right, so fourth phase of ethical hacking, and this is exploitation, and this is commonly known as hacking, right? So in this phase, we gain unauthorized access to the systems in company's infrastructure by using all the vulnerabilities or our information that we gather in our phase 2 and 3, so that we can identify all the flaws in the company's infrastructure. And then we share this information with the stakeholders so that they can identify and they can remediate all of those vulnerabilities or flaws in the infrastructure. So this is just like a hacking stuff where we hack the system, we gather the information, we gather the evidence, and then we share those evidence so that the security posture of that company can be improved. So this is very important, and in this phase we just get unauthorized access to the system. Alright, so fifth phase in ethical hacking is the reporting, and this is also an important phase. In this phase, we share all the information, we share all the findings in one document, we put all things together, and then we also recommend on these vulnerabilities. For example, in Windows XP, we said that, okay, in Windows XP we find this vulnerability. Now we need to recommend as well what they can do to address this vulnerability. For example, we can say either they can upgrade to a latest version, but if they want to use the same Windows XP, they can accept the risk. So, it really depends. Sometimes there are tools in the industry that just, that just work with Windows XP. So they cannot remove Windows XP, but they can accept the risk. They can put more security on that Windows. So all of those recommendations that we do to the client so that they can, again, at the end of the day, this is their decision. We share the information. We do not impose the information. We share the information. It's their decision how they can, address internally. So we share the document, and if they have any question or concern, we address with each other, and this is how it goes in reporting. All right, so last phase of ethical hacking is a project closeout, I would say project sign off. In this phase, both the parties from all sides, they sign all the paperwork, they share final reporting, all the recommendations, outcomes has been signed, conclusion has been done, everything has been done, everything is agreed, and now it's a time to sign off. So both the parties, they sign officially final paperwork, and they say goodbye to each other. So it's just like departure of the project. So yeah, this is the final phase. All right, that was it for today. Thanks for watching this video. If you have any questions or concerns, please do let me know down there in the comment, and I will try to answer those questions. And also stay tuned, I'll be sharing all the demos on all of these steps that we discussed today. So thumbs up.